variety on here tonight, and there's there's kind of a good reason why, although I guess I should have been more prepared. But um, I was trying to sign in. I couldn't sign into my YouTube account tonight. I've been kicked out. Um, and I know that probably seems like a strange thing, but the reason I got kicked out was because we had a little bit of a fiasco this weekend with my husband having his phone stolen. It's a bit of a long story, but because of that, we had to buy a new phone, even though these were new phones. And as a result, I have got the new upgraded phone because I've taken the phone with a bit more storage, and my hubby's got my old phone. So when I say old phone, it was only 2 months old. We only bought them back in June. Is it 2 months? I don't know. This year is so weird. I don't know what month it is or where we're at. So June, July, August. Actually, nearly 3 months. About 3 months old. So still pretty sad because they were brand new, both of them brand new iPhone 12 Pros, so not cheap phones. And I spent my cash out money from my trip on that, and it's gone. So anyway, that's what happens sometimes. Unfortunately, these people do the wrong thing, and you get caught up in it, and it's a bit sad. Hey, hey, Cindy, how you going? Hi, Therese. Nice to see you guys. So that made me really, really sad. But then when tonight, I sort of just totally forgot that when I went to go live tonight, because I have a new phone, I wasn't signed into YouTube anymore on this phone. And then I couldn't sign in, and I had to try to remember the password, and you know how it goes. So that's my sad story. We've had a bit of a crazy weekend around here. Between the stolen phone and which we spent a lot of Saturday morning trying to sort that out and organise a new phone for my husband who needs it for work. Um, and then my son needed to be taken to the emergency room. So I spent the rest of Saturday in the hospital with him. And it's just, you know how some days just you think, why did I get out of bed this morning? Really? Was there a point? Oh, it was just a crazy day, Cindy. And then Saturday night, that's last night, I had to, oh gosh, this was only yesterday. It feels like a lifetime ago. I had to, I was running a game night with my team, and which is really fun. I was really, really looking forward to it. But of course, with everything going on, I was like, how am I going to have time to organize the games? And thank goodness I have the world's most wonderful team. We had one of my girls had already offered to help me out with a game. So I sort of rang her and went, help. It might need more than one game. As it turned out, we only did need the one game, but yeah, a couple of the girls helped her out, and they all had a chat going all afternoon and worked out how they were going to approach it if I wasn't going to be able to be there. In the end, I was able to be there. I had to leave my boy in hospital overnight, but I could be there. So it was really, really fun. And if any of the girls from last night are here tonight, say hi, and I hope you enjoyed it. I thought it was a really fun night, and it was just the perfect distraction I needed. It was great to have a laugh and relax. So that was pretty cool. You might notice I got my hair up tonight. It's getting to the pointy end of lockdown. It's been a long time in lockdown when your hair, really the only thing you can do with it is stick it up. So, I'm missing my hairdresser very much. And she's locked down too, of course. So, yeah, it's just the way it goes. And so I just thought tonight I couldn't stand it any longer and it was going up. All right. How's everyone else's week? Have you had a better week than me, a better weekend than me? You know what? It turned out okay in the end. You realize it's, when things like this happen, you go, it's okay. We've still got everything we need. How lucky that we were able to replace the phone, even though we had to do a bit of a payment plan to do it. But so lucky. And so lucky that we have great medical help to help out in emergencies, and so good that we have a roof over our head and we have each other and all those things. So I'm very, very grateful for that. And sometimes when things go south, it's good to remember all the good things we have. So there you go. All right. So I'm just clicking on my page so that I can make sure I can see your comments okay, because so far I really, really can't see very well. So give me a second. I'm just going to refresh the page. I can see there's people here, so I know it's working, but I just need to be able to see your comments. Here we go. Ta-da! I can see them. All righty, fantastic. Nice to see everybody here tonight. Um, And if anyone else has had a crazy weekend, feel free to tell me about that. I will empathize with you. I won't go through and say individually hello to everybody because I can see that there's a lot of people. And hey, Bronwyn, you were here last night for the games. That was fun. It was really fun. Oh, Deb, that's okay. This is life, isn't it, sometimes? Yeah. Yeah. A big hug would be nice. A real hug would be really good. Thank goodness. While we're in a family, we can have those. But I really feel for people who are on their own and, not having hardly any human interaction at the moment. That must be so hard. That's not good. I saw your ultrasound photo. Well, not your ultrasound photo. That'd be a bit scary, right, Cindy? But I saw that you had posted family ultrasound photos, and I wondered if it was grandchildren. How exciting is that? That's the first time. Congratulations. I'm not going to have my turn for a while yet, which is a good thing. Okay, let me have a quick look and see if I've missed any other comments. Yeah, congratulations. Nope, I think I'm up to date with comments. All right, I'm going to get this phone flipped around and let's make some stuff. I think that's the way, isn't it? Okay, give me a tick. All right. Let's do that flip around. Apparently, I'm looking into some software that's going to help me do a little bit more of a seamless switcheroo when I change the camera, so I won't have to flip it and ask you to bear with me. It might look a little bit more professional. Mind you, you know what? Professional is good, but as we discussed the other night, it's overrated in that the most important thing is to be here and to be talking and connecting with people. That's more important than whether or not I get the technology right all the time. And hey, just as well, because you guys have seen some of what I get up to. I've got my AirPods in, but I'm not sure if they're working. But let me know if there's any problems with the sound. Once again, because I've switched over the phone, I'm not sure how everything else is working with the phone. Some things seem to be working really well, and some things maybe not so much. So there we go. All right. Okay, so a couple of things. I'm going to show you this in a second. I did talk about that on Friday night, and I'm going to come back and talk about it again. We are going to play with some stuff out of the new mini. But before we do, I just wanted to tell you that I'm celebrating my 15 years with Stampin' Up this week on the 7th of September. So what's today? In 2 days' time. It's the 5th today, so 2 days from now. And over on my Facebook pages, both my VIP group and also my standard business page, I've been putting up lots of conversations about things that had happened back in 2006, which was the year that I joined. And also, little things like asking people what their favorite stamp set was. I am going to be going back on my page and announcing a winner from the VIP group yesterday. Everyone who posted about what their first Stampin' Up purchase was. And I don't know, I did tell people on Friday night, but for anyone who wasn't here, I'll show you what my first purchase was, even though this is not actually the same one because I've replaced it. But my first purchase was the Stampin' Scrub. And I still use it. I know we use chamois and other things like that as well, but I tend to use this for cleaning my stamps still more than I ever, more than any other product. And the scrub and the mist, of course, was the thing that went with it. And I had a few stamps when I first saw Stampin' Up. I went to a workshop in 2006. I was invited along, and I sat there with lots of other people. I had never seen anything like Stampin' Up. I mean, I'd done the rounds of all the scrapbooking shops because that was my hobby. I was a scrapbooker, and I, really, really loved all of the papercraft stuff and had fallen very, very heavily in love with it. But when I saw Stampin' Up, that whole coordination where they had inks and papers and ribbons and all sorts of things that matched each other, oh my goodness, I was totally hooked from that very, very first workshop. And this is what I bought, Stampin' Scrub and Mist. And the reason why was because my daughter, who was 3 at the time, so she's my oldest, she used to love to stamp with me, and I'd say, let's have some stamping time. But the stamping time I got over it pretty fast because she would stamp, then she'd hand the stamp to me, then I clean the stamp with a baby wipe or whatever, and then I'd hand the stamp back to her and she'd stamp it in a different color or whatever. And this was very repetitive, but it meant that I got no stamp. It wasn't a joint stamping effort. It was just her stamping and me cleaning. And I saw this thing and I thought to myself, maybe she could clean her own stamps. How good would that be? So that's why I bought this. And that was my very first purchase. And it's still an amazing, wonderful thing. And I'm so glad I have it. Any other fans of Stampin' Scrub out there? Sound all good. Excellent. We love that. So, yeah, I'm interested to know if anyone else has experienced the Stampin' Scrub and loves it like I do, or have people moved on to other things like chamois and other types of cleaning items? What do you think? I think the sound is a little behind. Like I think I'm a little behind. That's you, Brahman, telling me that you're a fan of the scrub. Yes, me too, Megan. Thank you. There is a bit of a delay between what I say and when I can read your comments. So if I seem to be very slow in replying to your comments, that's why there's quite a delay. But anyway, that's how it goes. All right. So this was the first catalogue that was in the year that I joined. So this is the very first time I saw Stampin' Up. This was a catalogue that I saw. I actually have two of these. I found another one. Someone was getting rid of one, and I grabbed the second one for myself. I bought my starter kit, which is here on the inside of the back cover. It was $324 back then. Now it's only $169, but that's how much it was then, $324. And you could purchase an optional scrapbooking add-on kit. It was called Stampin' Memories add-on kit if you were a scrapbooker and wanted to add on. I was pretty happy with the scrapbooking things that I had, so I didn't get the add-on kit, but that was an extra $75 if you wanted that. So if you wanted all of it, it was roughly $400. And it came with some business supplies like it still does, and it came with catalogs and all those kinds of things. There was, scissors, there was Snail, which is now retired, but Snail. Versamark, which we still have, blending pens, blender pens, which we still have. The chalks. Do anyone remember the stamp? These were called Stampin' Pastels, and they were chalks all in little, I don't have mine anymore, but little squares of color, and they came in all the different colors, and I used mine to death. I loved them. We now have in our most recent catalogue that just came out in June, we have new Stampin' Pastels, which are in stick form. So same kind of product, and you can do all the same kind of techniques with it, but it's sticks, okay, sticks of chalk basically. So, and they are also in our exclusive colors, so that makes them pretty cool. So there's the Stampin' Scrub that I bought and the mist. When I got my kit, that meant I got two of those. I got that again. I figured that it wouldn't hurt to have a spare, or maybe I'd be able to sell it to somebody. I can't remember. I think I did end up using it as a spare. But it came with 5 ink pads and an assortment of colors, and you could choose the 5 ink pads and the assortment of colors in whichever color family we have. So does anyone remember? This is a little trivia question for you. Does anyone remember what the 4 color families were back then? We didn't have any in colors. It was just 4 color families. And I'm wondering if anyone can remember what they were. Because one of them is still the same today, still called the same thing, but the other 3 aren't. They've moved the colors around in the groups and all those things. What was in the kit? So it was 5 stamp sets, 5 ink pads and the matching assortment of cardstock, and a packet of white. There was a wheel. If anyone remember the wheels, the standard handle and the standard wheel, and a wheel refill. The blender pens, the snail, the Versamark, the chalks, the craft and rubber scissors. These were specifically, they weren't like paper snips. These were specifically for cutting the rubber. So when you put your stamps together, because it used to come that the stamps and the wood blocks, because we didn't have the clear blocks back in those days, we had wood blocks only. The stamps, the rubber, and the wood blocks and the stickers were 3 separate items, and you had to put them together. And it helped to keep the price of the stamps down a little bit because you had to do your own assembly, but it was kind of like IKEA. You had to put it together yourself. And people seemed to do that. People were happy to do it. I actually had, when we finally went to the die cutting of rubber and then all the pieces were already pre-cut, you didn't have to cut them out anymore. When we went to that, I had a couple of customers tell me that they were sad about that because they liked getting to know their stamps by cutting them and getting a feel for them. Personally, I was so excited when they got rid of that. I was really, really happy because there was a question I hated, which was when people say, "You mean you have to put them together yourself?" And I wonder how often IKEA hears that. I mean, we all know now that that's how IKEA works. But anyway, does that answer your question, Megan? That was what was in the kit. So it was, great little slog of products, but you could choose which sets you wanted. So no one's answered my question, so I'll tell you. The set that's still the same, the colors that are still the same, is soft subtles. We still have soft subtles, and they were around then as well. So let me show you what the 4 color families were, because they're in here. All right, so here's the soft subtles, and we still have soft subtles, but the colors have changed. We don't have perfect plum, pale plum. Are there any colors that are the same? Certainly celery, I think. Do we still have? Yeah, we still have certainly celery. That's still around. That is the only color. The certainly celery is the only color from the soft subtles we had in 2006 that is still around now in 2021. So all the others have moved on. Then we had rich regals. So these days we just call them the regals, right? But they're the rich regals. And we have Night of Navy still in there now. So Saffron was a regal. It's now in the soft subtles. So that one moved around. And those two are the only colors we still have. All the others have moved on. We have this Handsome Hunter color, which is a really dark green, is really, really close to the new Evening Evergreen. That's the darkest green we've ever had, and it's really, really similar to Handsome Hunter. But Handsome Hunter's been gone for a number of years now. Okay, and then coming back over here, we had the Bold Brights. That was the color family I chose at the time, which is really interesting because if I was doing this again now as my first time, there's no way I would have chosen the Bold Brights. And they were really, really almost primary colors and a few extras thrown in, like great for kids, good kids colors, but they're not colors that I probably would choose now. I would have gone with something a little bit more muted. And a little bit more leaning, like I liked these regals. I probably now would have chose either the regals or the subtles. And I did love this last one, which was Earth Elements. So I don't know if anyone remembers the Earth Elements, that those were, oh, we don't have celery. Celery's gone. What am I saying? Oh, Pear Pizzazz is what I'm thinking of. Pear Pizzazz is the new color. So there is only one color that we still have in the soft subtles. And what is it? Because it's a bit of a trick, because I just told you what it was, but it wasn't in there then. So it was So Saffron, which used to be in the regals. It moved into the soft subtles, and that's the only one we still have in there. Sorry about that. We don't have celery. You guys are on the ball. All right, so do we have any of these colors? Real Red was a bright, and you can kind of understand why it was a bright, but these days Real Red is in our regals collection. Any others? Nope, all the others are gone. Okay, the colors have gradually kind of been updated. And they're a lot more modern looking, I think, now than they were then. In the Earth Elements, probably the big one that everyone loved was Chocolate Chip and Close to Cocoa. Anyone remember Close to Cocoa? It was like a real light mocha color. Absolutely beautiful. And Creamy Caramel, I was never a massive fan of it, but it was so popular. Everyone loved it. More Mustard was probably one of my most disliked colors. I think I was still in the nappy stage at that time, and More Mustard did not gel with me at all. And we'll just not say anything else about that. Pumpkin Pie we still have. So that now is a regal. So Real Red moved from the brights to the regals, and Pumpkin Pie moved from the Earth Elements into the regals. And any other colors? Old Olive. Oh my gosh, Old Olive is a color we have had right from the very, very start. And Garden Green. Look at that, those two together. And they're both also in the regals now. So a lot of colors have moved into the regals, and then So Saffron moved out of the regals. So that's kind of interesting. Not Quite Navy was probably one of my favorite colors. It's kind of like a dark teal on its way to navy, as the name suggests, but not that much. So pretty much exactly as the name suggests. And even then, you might notice they were doing the alliteration thing. So, always using the same letter for the first and second word, and they're still doing that. So that's kind of become one of their things. Yeah, Chocolate Chip was a great color. And look, Old Olive here, Kath. I wondered if you were on tonight. I know you still love Old Olive. I have remembered that even before you said it last night at the game night. I knew that that was a color you like. Okay, so I think that's our little walk through the colours. I thought you guys might enjoy that tonight and little quick look at what was going on when I joined back in 2006. Now I know you're not just here to hear me talk about those things, but it's kind of fun to walk down memory lane. And if you're enjoying that, head over to the Facebook group because that's where we've been talking about these things this week. If you're in Australia or you're one of my customers or in my team, you can be part of the VIP group. So you can head over there and be part of that conversation. Okay, so the new mini catalogue that came out in, well, it says July, but that's actually a big fib because we had to delay the start of the catalogue because of the shipping issues. The August to December catalogue now. So this one has been going for just over a month, and we've got it goes until the end of the year. And then this little guy here, the Celebration catalogue, started last month as well at the same time, but this one finishes at the end of September. So this one, the time is coming towards the end. What's in there? These are all the free items. Every time you spend $90 out of any catalog, you get to pick something out of the Celebration catalog. So there are some really, really cool things in here. One of my favorites is this beautiful Bedazzling paper that's on the very first page. So $90 order would get you one of these, okay, for free. So it's like it's gifts with purchase, right? And as you go through this, most things are worth that $90. There's a few things like the sheep are worth $90, and then the matching dies for the sheep are worth $90. So if you wanted both, you'd be putting in a $180 order to get both of those. And then as you go further up the end here, there's a few more higher value ones like these little shaded summer shadows dies and the delicate dahlias, which is what I was hoping to show you this weekend, but unfortunately my order got delayed. So I'm hoping it will arrive soon because I really, really want to use this and show you. So I think it's beautiful. Anyway, the last thing I will say before we move on is this little joining deal. If anyone's looking at joining as a demonstrator, for only $169, you get $235 worth of product. Plus, you get to pick any of the bundles that are here on page 19, which makes it just the best deal ever. Okay, so that's up to an extra 100, let's say up to around $100 worth of extra value on top of what you're already getting. So it's just something I have to tell you about because it's my job as your demonstrator to make sure that you maximize your value so you're getting the very most that you can get. And that's how it works. All right, so what I thought we might play with tonight is here on page 43. I did get this, I did show it a little bit last weekend, but I wanted to have a little bit more of a play with it today a little bit differently. This is called the Merriest Moments Bundle, and the Merriest Moments Bundle is made up of 3 items rather than the usual 2. So normally it's stamps and a punch or stamps and some dies, but this time it's stamps and dies and an embossing folder, all 3 together. Okay, so here is the embossing folder. You might not be able to see it very well. Let me put something behind it. Okay, that might make it easier to see. It's really, really pretty. I've done a few cards with it. I did a couple on my live last weekend, which I thought turned out really, really nice. And you can go back and watch that one if you really would like to see more of what we can do with it. Just really, really pretty. And it makes such a nice impression. And you can, even without adding anything to it, you could run this through an embossing folder, stamp something in the middle, and it looks like you've gone to lots of trouble because you've got all this lovely embossing around the edges. Here's a piece I prepared earlier. Okay, got all this gorgeous embossing. And then you could just stamp something in the middle, maybe add a ribbon or something like that, and make it a really, really simple card, but it would be really effective. So that's something you could do. There are matching dies, all right, that help to cut out so you can cut and emboss at the same time, which is the point of these types of dies and embossing folders. So this is what we call a hybrid embossing folder, which means you can put your dies inside it. So I could actually line up this piece here, pop it inside. Is it this one? Yeah. Pop it inside. No, it goes this way. Pop it inside so it matches up, and it's going to cut and emboss at the same time. Okay, I mean that's really like doubling your effort. You're getting a lot more than what you're putting the effort in for, if that makes sense. But anyway, I thought we'd have a little play with it and see what we can come up with. There's some nice ideas there, and then there's a matching stamp set that's part of this bundle as well. Now, you can buy the stamp set by itself. You can buy the dies and the embossing folder by themselves, but you can buy them all together. And if you're buying all three, it's only $94.50 for the three of them, which I think is actually really good value, because your embossing folders, the 3D embossing folders like this, are normally around $17.50. So that makes it a really good deal. And in here, we've got some like poinsettias. We've got some nice little matching holly and leaves, and we've got some really, really nice sentiments. So let's grab our pieces. I'll just move that out of the way for a second, and let's see what we can do. Because I spent so much time just before I came on trying to get the password for my, so I could join my own channel, because I couldn't get in. But once I got that sorted out, I realized that I wasn't quite as prepared as I'd like to be. So we might just have to do a little bit more cutting or something like that tonight, but I'm not worried about that. I did take the time, though, to actually run this through the embossing folder ahead of time, so we haven't got to do that. So you can see what that looks like. Now, there's a number of things we could do with this straight up. I'm going to be adding a piece also from these dies. So this is a little piece of black, and I'm going to emboss on this. And I'm thinking tonight, normally I decide whether I'm going to go with, quite often I use white, because I think white is really, really stunning. And I've done that on a video with these before. I have a lot of trouble not wanting to use white on black, because I love that chalkboard look. But another option, we can go with gold, or I thought maybe tonight we might go silver. I thought silver might look really nice with this color scheme. So this color is grey granite, which is a neutral. And neutrals, of course, is one of our new color families. So that's a color family we didn't have back then. The black, the white, those things were separate. And I think grey too was separate to the colour families. They actually had them differently back then. But these days, the neutrals, we decided they were so important, not I, because I'm not part of Stampin' Up, I'm just a demonstrator, but they decided that it made sense to give the neutrals their very own family. So, you had things like silver and vanilla and white, confetti cream, confetti white, for anyone who remembers those, which had the little flecks of like, I don't even know what the flecks were. They were like little flecks of, not fabric, but it almost looked like fabric. It was like recycled paper that hadn't quite been properly processed, but it was a really beautiful look. And I used to use these confetti white and cream all the time for my card bases. I still some have around, I think. I'm just having a little look back at comments. Hey, I missed a few people. Sorry about that. What I was saying to you, Kath, before about choc chip was, you said choc chip was the bomb. I actually like early espresso better, even though I thought I was going to, have to jump off something really high when they got rid of chocolate chip. But I decided in the end to stay around, and I've actually decided I like early espresso even better than chocolate chip. There you go. Yes, Dusty Rose and Rococo Rose were a little bit similar. Yes. Going through the sheep and the dies, they were one of the sets I pulled out to maybe play with tonight, but I don't know that we're going to get time, because I've got another 4:30 start in the morning tomorrow. I've got to go pick up hubby from work again, so I'm not going to go late tonight. The Dahlia set is one of my favorites too. I just think it's gorgeous. I'm just going back through. I agree, Sheree. It is such good value with the dies and everything. So it's, there are some really good value items in this latest catalogue, and not this one, because obviously you can't buy anything out of here. Although there are some items that are still available that were available way back when. But anyway, I just wanted to show you that the neutral kind of colours were totally on a separate page. And where did they have black? Oh, here it is. The black's down here. So they had, as a separate thing, you had Sahara Sand. Well, that's still around. Whisper White, Very Vanilla, Basic Brown. Basic Brown doesn't sound very exciting, does it? And Going Grey. I remember Going Grey, and Basic Black. So Basic Black is still there. Sahara Sand is still there. Vanilla and White are both still there. So there's a lot of changes, but there's a few things that have stayed the same. So it's kind of cool. Okay. Basic Brown was a bit dull. It was Mission Brown, wasn't it? Anyway, what I'm thinking we might do with this, I'm thinking we're going to keep it pretty simple. I could go into white. I'm still tempted to use white because I love it so much, but I'm thinking maybe we'll try silver and just see how that goes. All right. So I'm just going to grab, deciding, I'm thinking maybe what we need to do is get some grey granite, which is the same color. This is the same color ink as what we have here in our cardstock. And I'm going to grab some silver embossing powder, if I can find some. I've got gold. I've got every color handy, but of course, oh, you know what I've got that we don't have it anymore. We used to have pewter. Does anyone remember the pewter embossing powder? This is pewter, which actually looks very similar to silver, but not quite the same. It's a bit duller, if that makes sense. A bit richer, but duller. So this is actually the silver. You can see the new packaging. And you know what? Since they've actually brought out brand new packaging again. Now they're actually selling the embossing folders as a pack. So you can buy like a pack of metallic ones, which will give you several of the metallic ones in one pack. I don't know how I feel about that. That's okay though. I know when the time comes, if I run out of one, I don't mind buying a whole pack, but I don't know if everyone will feel the same. All right, so I'm thinking we're going to go with a, don't know, I'm going to go landscape just for something different because I haven't done landscape with this particular embossing folder before. All of these, probably these two are going to fit on the best. This one says together is the merriest place to be, and this one says a joyful Christmas to you and yours. So I'm going to let you guys choose one of those two. Whoever says it first is the one we're going to use. So does anyone have a preference? How's everyone feeling? So I'm grabbing myself a new sponge dauber. I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to give this a little bit of a treatment with the grey granite. And the reason I want to make these stand out a little bit more. I'm going to keep them, like I said, pretty simple. And I'm just going to grab a little bit of grey granite, and you'll see if you just run it off on your scrap paper a little bit to get rid of the excess of the ink. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to run, it's only going to be very subtle, but it's just going to give us a little bit more colour over. And if you just go, hold your dauber straight up and down and just go, so don't turn it on its side and don't press too hard because you don't want to colour the background as well. We just want to colour the leaves and make them stand out more. So I'm going to go around and I'm going to do that all the way here. This is a very simple thing that you can do anytime you're using any embossing folder. I mean, there are other ways to add colour to embossing folders as well. Like you can actually put ink, like use a brayer or, roll ink straight into the folder and actually press the ink into the folder as you're doing your embossing. That's always a really special kind of a way to go about it. One of my favorites. But this is kind of, I find doing this kind of thing quite satisfying. I like the way you'll see all the little veins in the leaves and everything. It really highlights all those little details. So it takes a little bit of time, and my apologies if it's not terribly riveting video. Has anyone got anything interesting to say while I'm doing it? All right, so the choices were, and let me go back and see who got it right. Now, I like the sound of silver too, Megan. That sounds good. Okay, Rose said joyfully, which is this one. The joyful Christmas to you and yours, that one. So that's the one we're going to do. Okay, thank you. Who said it? Did anyone else have a guess there? Amazing Me. I don't know your name, but that's you picked the same one. So there we go. Obviously, that's, yeah, true. Don't know if we can be together. Is that what you mean, Bronwyn? Yeah. So one of the things we played last night in our games night with the girls, and if you're wondering, well, how are you having a games night when you're meant to be in lockdown? We did that on Zoom, and it was actually lots and lots of fun. I really enjoy the evenings getting together with the girls. We don't do them all the time. We do them just here and there. now and then. And it's just a really nice way of connecting, especially when we're all stuck at home. So I just thought it would be a nice thing to do. And considering the day I had yesterday, I'm very glad we did it because it gave me a distraction. How's this looking? What do you think, guys? So you can see I'm being pretty gentle with it. Like, I'm not moving too fast, but I'm not being super careful either. You don't have to like be really, really detailed. You just have to make sure you keep it straight up and down. And that way you're only applying it to the raised image, not to the background. And it doesn't have to be perfect either, I say as I go back and touch a couple up. Now, when lockdown is over, I've got plans for a few of our local girls to go out and have a coffee. I think we should. I'm sure you girls have all got your plans to go out and do things with people when lockdown has ended as well. Okay, that's coming together nicely. Just a tiny bit more here. There we go. Now, I just realized I forgot to put this phone in. I was so busy trying to get logged in that I forgot to put the phone in airplane mode. So, gee, I hope no one calls me while we're in the middle of this, because if we do, we're going to freeze and then I'll have to come back again. So you can sort of get a feel for how this is looking. So I'm going to try with the silver and we're going to see how that goes. So let me grab a block. We're going to grab this beautiful stamp. I love the font in all these sentiments. I think it's really, really lovely what they've done. I'm just going to pop this here. I think I can hear my kids playing something loudly in the next room, so I hope that's not going to bother anybody. Then I'm going to grab my Versamark pad. I just realised that there it is. I thought I'd misplaced my Versamark pad, but no, it's here. I've actually got about 3 or 4 Versamark pads, but some are more inky than others. Now, we don't have these anymore. These are the embossing buddies that we used to have. If you have one, you're very lucky. You can run it over. If you don't have one, it's not the end of the world, but I would keep a, excuse me while I bring my head in here. What am I trying to say? Let me also put a mat under here as well. I totally lost my train of thought then. Does anyone else do that? You had to trim your fringe. Oh no, Jenny, definitely too long. I was talking about that at the start. I had to put my hair up tonight because I just wasn't happy with it. So there we go. Right, so I'm just, no, I'm not going to move that again because now it fell off. Let's hope it's enough. All right. So what I was trying to say is you want to have, I've remembered, thank goodness, you want to have a brush, okay? So either a little brush to get rid of any extra powder. Even with using an embossing buddy, sometimes you still need to do that as well. We're going to go with the silver, and I'm going to bring in a little container here, pop this in the container, and dump my powder on top. Now, going back to the beginnings, when I first did first joined Stampin' Up, one of my favorite, look, you know what? You can see where I messed it up. I wonder if I can fix that. So I double stamped a little bit. So let's see if it can be fixed. And if it can't be fixed, maybe I should just start over. It fell off and I kind of overstamped it. And I can see it's all doubled up here as well. I'm thinking maybe we start over, girls. We're going to turn that over. I'm going to get my brush and brush all that off. And we're going to start again. Better than embossing and then realizing that it's not that great. So I'm going to use my buddy because I have one. But if you don't have one, just keep a brush handy to make sure you can get rid of any extra powder. And this time, let's see, did I still have, give me a second. I'm going to try again. And I'll try not to drop it this time. So I'm going to bed nice and early tonight because I have to be up so early in the morning. But last night we had quite a late night, but that's all right. When you say the cat's lost the plot, Jenny, what do you mean? What kind of things does it do that makes you know that it's lost the plot? So I'm just going through all the comments. Have I missed any questions or anything like that? Oh, you enjoyed our surprise guest. I loved having her there. We've become really, really good friends, and it's been so, so nice. One of my demonstrator friends in the US, her name is Susan Canfield. Some of you may know Susan. And we kind of became friends over some shared experiences in what we were doing, both at similar stages of our business. She's been a demonstrator a lot longer than me, so she's got some really great experience that I have found so, so helpful. She knows things that I don't know, and I hope that I'm able to maybe help her sometimes and be a little encouraging and things like that. But we've just been able to help each other, and we're what we call accountability buddies. So we check in with each other. We, help each other not only talk about our goals and what we want to achieve, but also help each other, just sort of like cheer each other on and give each other suggestions and all that kind of stuff. And I just have found it so helpful. So anyway, last night she got to join our team games night, and then I did a talk for her team at one of her team events a couple of months ago. So we're kind of helping each other out in lots of different ways. So she's a really lovely person. I've enjoyed getting to know her. Just going to get that back in there. Okay. All right, let's give this a whir with the heat tool, and let's see what we can do to get that. Now, the good thing about metallic embossing powder, like we're using silver, the cool thing about that is it's really easy to see when it's cooked because it'll go shiny and you'll know straight away. It's harder to tell with white and it's harder to tell with clear, but these ones are easy. Okay. Cindy, I really like it that you love it when I mess up because you'll probably find there's more of that where, there's plenty more where that came from. There's plenty more messing up to come. So, I'm, pretty excited about that. All right. So this is how this is going to look. Now, I could actually put this in the middle here, put the card together and call it a finished card. But of course, I do like to do a few extra things. So let's see. I've got a couple of ideas. Sometimes when you do mess things up, it's like a blessing in disguise because when you mess up, it's not what you anticipated, but it can sometimes turn out to be better and it can give you ideas for things you didn't have before. So this is kind of where I'm going with this because I've got a couple of little blobs of embossing powder up here that I didn't notice earlier, and of course now I've cooked them, they're stuck there. So I don't know if can you see I've got a couple of little marks up here. So it seems like I'm going to have to cover those up, right? And I'm wondering what I use to cover them up. We could do of course a little bit of bling, that's always an option. We could also cut some little die cuts because with my, where are they? Oh my goodness. I've got all these different dies and things hanging around. Oh, here they are. Here we go. So with these, like I've got like these little fellas. There's a couple of these little poinsettia dies on here, and we could cut a couple of those out and put them around, which I think would look rather nice. And pull that off. So just to give you an idea, so like we'd have them here, and we could do that out of here, and no, I'll do a couple around. We could do that out of silver, or we could do it out of vellum. Vellum might look really nice as well. And they're going to cut it's going to cut like a solid little poinsettia. I've got a couple of them, so maybe we use those. Oh, there's another one here. Look, there's 3, so I could do 3 at a time, and they're different sizes. Can you see those? So those would look really good, and we could put a couple of those around. It would look really, really pretty. Other options is we could do a couple of little sprigs in silver and have them coming out from underneath. So there's lots and lots of different options. I'm just looking to see what happened with your cat. And Kay, I so understand what you're talking about with your nails, because you were actually somebody I thought of. Oh no, what's Kay going to do? She won't be able to get to the nail salon. And so I channeled my inner Kay the other night. That's an interesting turn of phrase. And I actually got my nails. See, I did my own nails. Look at that. I was kind of impressed. This one's actually coming off a bit, but I was very impressed. They're actually those special gel that you set under the ultraviolet thingy. And I was cleaning up something the other day and came across one of those kits and went, oh, I need to use those. I can actually do my nails, and I did. And I was very happy. They're holographic, so in the sunlight, they're all sparkly and different colors, which is very pretty. So this is the new brushed metallic stuff. Sorry, no, it isn't. This is the new silver foil that has a brushed look to it. So it's like the brushed metallics, but it's just the silver, and it comes in a few different colors of silver. And then there's also I could use white vellum. So either of those is going to work. I've got some vellum here as well. See, there's just a little bit of vellum. So how about I cut, maybe I do both. I don't know. I might try both and see how they look. So I'm going to just cut this down a little bit, because if I'm going to put it through my mini machine, it can't be wider than a certain amount. It's got to be 3.5 inches or 9 centimeters or less. Otherwise it doesn't go through. So this is actually a good reminder. I'm glad we're using this, because otherwise I probably would have forgotten to say it. This week, some of you may know I'm running my 15 envelopes promotion, and I'm doing that because it's my 15th anniversary. So I decided that the first 15 people, my anniversary is the 7th, which is in 2 days' time. The first 15 people that purchased $100 more, any order size of $100 or more during the month of September would each get to pick an envelope. Now, right now, 8 envelopes have gone. I have 7 left. And if anyone would like one, you just have to put it in before all the 7 envelopes are gone. And at the end of the week, when everyone has put in their orders, on the 7th is the last day. If you put your order in by midnight on the 7th, on the 8th, the following day, I'm going to do a drawing of everyone who's participated in it, and somebody in that group will win one of these mini cut and emboss machines. Okay, so that's what I'm doing this week. If you put an order in and all the envelopes are gone, you can still be in the draw for the mini cut and emboss machine, but I've only got 15 envelopes. So if you haven't put an order in yet and you plan to, or it's something you were going to do, my suggestion is do it soon, because then you can get an envelope. And the prizes are all brand new and unused. Some are current and some are retired. The lowest value prize is a pack of A4 cardstock, and the highest value prize is I've got some stamp sets worth up to about $38. So there's also some DSP in there. There's a whole bunch of different things. So I'm hoping that everyone will really enjoy it. It's my way of saying thank you to some of my customers for being with me on this little journey for the last 15 years, because how amazing is it? Can you believe it started all those years ago? I feel like life was very different then. Now I'm just going to roll. I've done the vellum ones, and I'm just going to roll them through with the silver. I'm thinking the silver might be the winner, but I wanted to try both and see how they look. So you can see the 3 little flowers there. I'm just going to roll them through. Pick it up. As soon as the handle starts to move, it means it's taking it through. It means it's grabbing the plates so you can roll them through. It's a great little machine if you like to take your machine with you but find it very heavy or cumbersome to carry. This is so much lighter. I think these are just over 1 kilo from memory. I probably should know that information, but I mean, look at us all. We're all complaining about our nails, and you know, our fringes and all that kind of stuff. I'm thinking, really, it's first world problems, isn't it? Really, I mean, we're so used to having all these things, and we love having all these things, but yeah. All right, so let me pull this out, and I'll pop. You can see how they look. So see what I mean when I say they're like a little solid flower. They're not like just the outline. So there's 3 of these. I can hear my kids watching TV or something in the room next door. And it's quite recent, actually, that they are getting along quite well. Up until, I would say, the last 6 months to a year, they, you know, would just sort of snarl at each other every now and then. But they've become much more nice to each other in the last, I don't know if it's lockdown or what it is, but they just seem, I think part of it's just Ben being, he's 15 and he's sort of growing up a little bit, and he's less annoying possibly than he was once deemed to be. So I'll move those over here so I don't lose them. All right, so let's pull that back in and see what these look like. I want to cover up those little bits. So it's a pretty simple little card, but kind of cute. So I'm thinking like this. And what have we got? I've got 3 silvers, and I had 3 vellums, but I'm not sure where the other one went, because the problem with vellum is sometimes it's really hard to see. It disappeared. Someone might have spied where it went, but anyway. So maybe I do a mix of vellum, and that might be nice actually. All right, I'm thinking maybe 2 there and maybe 3 down here. Like, kind of like that. What do you guys think? Do we like this? Is this a good idea? I think it adds to it. Just going to go down and see if I've missed any comments. Yeah, it is growing up. I know, right? Absolutely right. All right, so how to stick these on? We could use Tombow. That would probably be quite easy, or we could use glue dots. I'm thinking maybe Tombow might be easier in this case, because I can just put a dot of it. I can. Out you come. There it is. A dot on, and then place this on top. And if the glue can be seen, I mean, it does dry clear, but if the glue can be seen, we can always stick a little bit of bling on top. So that's also something we can do. So I might not have thought to do this if we hadn't had that little bit of extra embossing powder that kind of went where I didn't want it to. And you can see that sometimes it's a good thing when things mess up, because it gives you the chance to try or do something you might not have thought of doing otherwise. What do you think? It's nice to see everybody chatting tonight. Lovely. I love that we're able to do that when we come together like this. I like these little tiny poinsettias. They're really nice as little embellishments. What do we think? Do we like this? So normally I would do 2 cards for you tonight, but I'm thinking with all my reminiscing, tonight you might only get 1. I hope no one's too disappointed. Oh, you know what though? As soon as I say that, I think, oh, but you know what I could do? How about I do a tag? What do people think about that idea? All right, I think that's okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount this. I think I was originally going to put it on white, but I'm not. I'm thinking I might actually put it on a black background and then put a white insert inside, because I think it needs a dark piece around. Does that sound like a good idea? So let me measure that. Move this out of the way. And we might add some little bling in the middle of those flowers too. So very simply sort of a card, even though I know I've taken my time about it. I'm sorry, I've been a bit slow tonight, haven't I? But sometimes it's nice to chat as well. See, I do think it looks better with a black outline, definitely. And I'm just thinking about what would look nice in the middle of those flowers. Got a few choices. I mean, we could just go with good old rhinestones. I mean, there's nothing wrong with those. And I think those might be the go, actually. And I mean, I do also have these, but they're not the right color. These are the champagne rhinestones. But let me just do little clear rhinestones. We'll use our take your pick tool to get those off the end here. Just makes life a bit easier. And it's also going to cover up any adhesive that you can see through that vellum. I've got my tongue out concentrating. Sorry, guys. Makes me go quiet. Yeah, I think the rhinestones are good too, Judith. Judy, sorry. Oh my gosh. I see it written, Judith, and I just read it. I'm so sorry. All right. So have you guys got anything you guys want me to show you over the next coming weeks? I mean, if it's something I own and something I have, I'm very happy to show you. If someone says, oh, I really want to see this or that, and I happen to have it in my collection, absolutely, I will show you. Thank you. Right, I'm going to zip around this with my... So this is quite subtle colors. We're just using neutrals, you know, grey granite and black. There's not a lot of color involved at all, but I think the silver is a nice kind of offset to the neutrals. The pet Christmas set. You mean the one I've got sitting right here that I was going to make a tag with? This one? Is this the one we mean? Because that literally is the other one I was thinking about using tonight. How about we make a tag with it, if anyone's got the time, if anyone wants to stick around for that. Mary Merlot card. Yes, that would be nice. Mary Merlot would look really nice with this if we wanted to brighten it up a little bit, wouldn't it? I'm just looking through. Just reading comments. Sorry, but guys, I can't read and talk at the same time. I'm terrible. Some people can multitask. That's not my skill. Oh, I'd love to see your cards made with the snowflakes, Kay. You'll have to post them so I can see them or message them to me or something. That would be awesome. I don't have the Prince and Princess stamp set. I'm so sorry. I don't have that one. So that one, I'm sorry, you may have to look on Pinterest for that. Hello, Tina. Nice to see you. Always have the time. Yeah, we do and we don't, right? We're all so busy, but it's nice to take time out for these things. All right, so what I'm going to do to finish this off, I won't do it right now, is I'm actually going to put an insert inside here, stamp a little bit around the corner, and we're going to call that a finished card. So I think the rhinestones set that off quite nicely there at the end. So looks good. Here we go. You'll have to drop it off on my doorstep so I can use it, Brahman, because I know you can do that. All right. So did we put all these back? No, we didn't. We didn't put all the little flowers back. So I'm going to do that. 1, 2, and the little tiny one I think went in here. There we go. So if anyone's wondering about these are the Mary's frames. And what I was talking about before with the 15 envelopes that I'm giving away at the moment, they're mystery envelopes. So you don't know what's in them. You get to pick a number between 1 and 15, although some of the numbers have already gone. So I'll let you know which ones are left. Okay, all right, let's do a quick little tag then. I've actually got some tags I cut up on Friday night for my Friday night projects. And here's a little tip for you. When you're When you're cutting a die cut shape, something that you cut often, so like a tag, for example, that's something you might have a need of more than one. If I need one for a project, I don't just cut one. I always double up, run 2 sheets of basic white cardstock through together and do 2 at a time. So I have, you know, 2 of this one and 2 of that one. And I used these 2, one of each of those, on my card on Friday night, which turned out really nice. I was really happy with it. But that's why I have 2 of each of these, because I ran them through at once. So there are some shapes, like basic shapes, like tags, circles, really simple shapes that there is no problems at all running through 2 sheets at a time, particularly Whisper White or Very Vanilla, which are thinner weight cardstocks. Well, they're not actually. They're actually the same weight, but they're more compressed than other cardstock. So that's why they seem thinner and they do cut more easily. So running 2 of those through together is not a problem. And for simple shapes, most normal cardstock, even the normal colors in the color families, you'll get 2 of those through at a time as well. So if I'm cutting up for a big class and I was using a whole bunch of these shapes, because that's a nice simple shape, I'd definitely be cutting 2 at once to halve the number of times I have to crank my machine. So that works really well for me. But if you have something more intricate, like a really intricate set, then I would not be putting 2 through at once. I would only do 1 at once, because otherwise you're likely to be quite disappointed that it doesn't go through both. So that's just a little tip. I find that makes me easier. Oh, Brahman, I forgot you still have my Thermi travel bag. I hope it was helpful. They're really good, those things. You love the Stampin' Scrub too? Yay! Oh no, it's broken. That's a bit sad. Do you know, this is not my first one, because my first one did eventually break. I pretty much used it to death. And then they brought out the new one. So this one doesn't have the label on it like the old one had. The old one had the Stampin' Scrub label. But this one is, in my opinion, more sturdy. The old ones, eventually the hinges gave way. I've had this one for years with no sign at the moment of the hinge being damaged. So I have found the new one seems to be much more hardy than the old one. So that's good. Okay. All right, so let's have a little play. I'm deciding which one to use, and I'm thinking, will we go with the one, which one shall we pick? The one with the straight edge or the one with the kind of curved edge, the curved top, or the straight? This one looks a bit bigger. Maybe I will go with this one. I know I just asked you to pick, but now I'm picking all by myself. But this one will give us a bit more room to move. And what shall we have, I think? Well, there's paper to match this too. Did you guys know that? So there's matching paper, which I'll just grab it for you. I'll just grab it for you now. So just give me a second while I do that. I should have had it ready earlier, but I didn't even think about possibly doing this tonight until just now, until we talked about it. Well, I did put it aside thinking if I have time, I'll do it. But I'm just pulling out some paper from that pack. So this, for example, this is one of the pieces of paper in the pack. I love this paper. It's a lot of fun. It's got lots of different colors that I might not normally put together, but I quite like it. I'm just looking to see where the rest of it is. It seems to have disappeared. Of course it has. But that's okay. We can make do. We can make do. I think I've put it back somewhere. Ah, found it. Here it is. Okay. So this is the paper here. All right. So you can see we've got some that actually these actually match the dies. So there's a matching die set, which is let me quickly show it to you in the catalogue so you can see what we're talking about. I'm starting to get my desk overwhelmed, so in a second I'm going to have to probably move things aside. So the bundle is called Sweet Little Stockings. Where is it? here, the stockings dies. And so they've done this in grey. And I actually personally, no offense to anyone who came up with this, but I don't know who it is. But I actually don't like the sample here, and it's really unlike me to not like samples in the catalogue. Quite often I love them and I point them out, but this one I'm not a big fan of. I think the grey and the green doesn't really grab me. It tells me what page they're on. So on page 31. And here's the suite. So you've got the stamp set, which is the one I've got right here. You've got the stockings dies, and the stockings dies and the stamp set match each other. And it shows you the size here of these because it's shown at smaller. Is it actually over the page as well? No, it isn't. So it's just showing you that this is the size of this little doggy. So it's a lot bigger than the stamp set they're showing here, obviously. Then there's some felt pieces. There's these awesome, and I do mean awesome, decorative dots. These are lovely, and they are in 3 colors: Bumblebee, Cherry Cobbler, Evening Evergreen, the dark green, and Old Olive. Really, really nice together. Then there's Pool Party and white striped ribbon. I don't have this yet, but I really like it. It'll probably need to be on one of my future orders. And then there's the DSP. And you can get the whole lot for $144.75 for everything, or you can just pick and choose the bits you want. But the paper is really cute because some of the dies also cut out some of the images in the paper, and that makes it a really good deal. I love it when they do that, actually. So here are the dies. They're a larger die set. And you can see them. There's a tag in here as well, which is rather cute. And I will show you what I like to do. Well, I don't need to with the tags that I've already cut, but if I was doing this, you either need to punch a hole in here if you want to add a ribbon or something, or in the seasonal layers dies, there's some little slits that are made specifically for ribbon to go through, and I've been using that with these, and they look really, really cool. Really like them. All right, so you can see there's 3 different size stockings. This is the large, small, and medium one. So let's use, I think we'll use a large one. Let me have a quick look. Move some stuff out of the way, get myself a bit under control here. Get rid of that. Get rid of the paper. In a second, I have to make a big decision, which is which ones I'm going to use. And then we've got our, I think we will go with this. I'm just having a look. I have not found any difference in colouring on the basic white than the Whisper White, but maybe we're using different products or something like that. I'm not quite sure, but I haven't found that, Tina, but other people might have comments about that. I mean, Whisper White was wonderful, but I was so grateful that they were able to replace it so quickly with Basic White. There was almost no noticeable gap between the 2 products, which was I was very grateful for that. I know the decorative dots are gorgeous, Rob Bronwyn, absolutely beautiful. Yes, it's a really good suite. So obviously I had to have this suite. Now I was very lucky because I got given the paper as a gift from our Maui trip. Even though we didn't go to Maui, at least they gave us the products. However, when I saw this, I mean, this little guy, this little pussycat, and for those of you who know our cats, Merlot and Crumpet, how could I not get this, really? I mean, it was a no-brainer to me. It just had to happen. So that's why I got it. So I'm going to do my stamping first. I'm going to grab a mat, and I'm going to grab that little pussycat because I haven't used him before. So this is a first time for me. Let's get him out and pop him on a block. You can see it's never been used, so I'm struggling to get it off the plastic. All right, there he is. Now I'm deciding when I go colouring, what am I going to use? Will I use blends? Will I use ink? Deciding. I think I might go ink because I think I'd like to maybe use cinnamon cider. If I want to make him look like Crumpet, I'm going to have to use cinnamon cider or a colour like that. So in that case, I'm going to have to use StazOn because I'm going to be adding watercolours. So Let me grab my Stays On ink. Now, I don't like using Stays On too much with photopolymer stamps, because if you use Stays On cleaner, it can break it down over time. So for that reason, I don't know whether this is inky enough, and if it isn't, I'll need to re-ink, but let's give it a whirl. Let's see what happens. Oh, he's too cute. Yeah, the blender pens would be good too. But, oh, actually, that's plenty dark enough. All right, so one way of not using my Stays On cleaner and still getting most of the Stays On off, because Stays On does stain your stamps, of course, because guess what? It stays on, is to actually use your scrub and mist, but do it straight away. So before it dries completely on the stamp, and it will get most of the ink off without the need for Stays On cleaner. I would still use Stays On cleaner if I was using rubber stamps, because I love the Stays On cleaner, but this is going to get most of that off. Okay, so I can see there's a little bit of staining even for that short amount of time, but it's not too bad. So we'll take him off and put him back in the pack. All right, so I'm going to have to cut him out, of course. Or maybe not. Yeah, I will have to cut him out. I'm going to think about that for a second, because I would like, when I put the stocking on, the only thing is then I'm going to lose his whiskers, and I'm a bit worried about that. I mean, what cat can manage without his whiskers, right? So let me just cut around the paws. I want to make sure this is going to work before I do all the colouring, because if it doesn't work the way I have it in my head that it's going to, then I will have done all that colouring for nothing. So I'm going to do this side of it first. Normally I would colour first, but once I've done it the first time, I'm going to know. Oh, I know, you need to check the pussycat. Or do you mean this cat, or do you mean your cat? Because your cat doesn't sound like he's very well. I'd be devastated, I think, if anything happened to either of our cats. I mean, I know they're just cats, but still. I'm going to come back and do the rest of this later. So I just want to do the bottom. And then let's work out what colour we would like. So it's probably going to depend on what colour is on my tag. So I've got my tag dies close by. These are the tailor-made tags. And the one I'm using here is the largest one, this one, with the, yep, that's the one. And see how it's already got the little hole there. So it does the hole for you. Whereas the tag in the other set, in the stocking set, doesn't have a hole. You would need to choose what hole you would like to put in. So this one has a hole already. I do like these. See, what I want to do is I want to cut these out and then put my little guy over the top. So I'm deciding what colours I would like to have him in. I think maybe a medium or a large stocking. Should we go red and green? What colour stocking? Or I've also got some other stockings. We have some other choices here as well. So does anyone have a favourite colour? Oh, there is a die for the cat. What am I doing, Denise? Thank you. Seriously? Oh, man. It's been a long weekend. Is this him? There he is. And it even cuts out the whiskers. Oh, my gosh. I did know that. So why was I cutting him out? Really? So let's see how we go. I have a child at the door, and I don't know whether he actually wants something. No, he's closed the door again, because I think he just realised, oh, Mum, you're on a live. Okay, I won't do that then. Now that I've cut around the pussycat, I don't know if I've cut off too much, but let's see. How much easier is that than doing all that cutting? And like I said, it even does the whiskers. All right, I'm going to push this in. In we go. All right. Oh, I know. I know about money trees. Ours seems to be empty sometimes too. especially when you have to buy your husband a new phone. Oh, okay. For anyone who didn't hear me say it, I bought the phone. We bought the phones together when I bought my when I got my cash out a few months ago, and so it's very sad that that is now gone. All right, so that is much easier than doing that, but now I need to color him, and we need to pick out which stocking we're going to do. So did anyone choose the stocking color? I'm just going back, I know, Crumpet loves plastic when it makes sounds like that. You are correct. Thank you, Denise, for telling me about the die, because I would have sat there and cut the whole thing out. You know that. Grey and white. Well, I don't think that's one of the options. The colours here are red, like there's lots of different colours. I guess we just pick one. This one here is nice. This is medium size, so it would be the next dye down from this one. It's kind of pool party and like a dark green, evening evergreen. Or I could go with dark green and old olive. That would look nice. Red and green. This one here has the cherry cobbler edges and kind of like a Fair Isle look. All right, so because I can't put this width through, remember it's too wide, what I can do is if I know, for example, that I want this one, I'm going to kind of cut loosely around it. On your big machine, you wouldn't need to worry. You can do a whole 6 inches wide and just run them through however you like. But on the small machine, you just need to be aware of the size. It's getting the work out tonight, the little machine, isn't it? Let me pop that on there. Push that through, and away we go. Move these down, and now I've got this little guy all cut out, ready to go. And it cuts out the little loop at the back too, which is cute. I like all those little details. Okay, so I've got my cat, and I've got my... All right, so now I have my tag, I have my pussycat, which I'm going to colour in, and I'm also going to add a bit of background. So like I said before, these dies are really, really cool, and you can then use them. Like I could put on a strip of paper and just cut it off, and that's probably the quickest and easiest thing to do. But something else you can do is pick whatever colour you want to have in the background, and I'm thinking I want to have something fairly solid. So can you see where I've cut out tags here? So, oh, I like the pool party. That's very nice. That would be a really nice background, actually. This colour actually looks like the stocking a bit, doesn't it? See, this is actually the small version of this. That's cute. Deciding which one. Olive, or I'm thinking maybe the green might look good. Let's start with this and see how we go. So like I said, I could just cut a piece and pop it on, and that's probably very easy to do. But here's another option. Okay, so I've got this piece here, and I can cut a strip any size, but if I wanted it to be this wide, I'm just going to run that through. I'm just going to rip it off, actually. Goodness me, I keep forgetting and putting it back down again, and actually I just need to keep it up. So base platform, first plate, piece that I'm cutting. This piece will go this way. And I'm just going to cut this. And the advantage of using the tag, because the tag has like a stitched edge, so that means this is going to have a stitched edge as well. So rather than measuring a piece, I can actually put this through, and it's going to, the edge is going to match the rest of the tag. So it's going to look like it's all incorporated. Have to turn it around. I work much better when I'm doing it right-handed. I mean, if you're left-handed, that's good. But sometimes just have to put it through so it's straight. There we go. So if it doesn't go through the first time because your plates are a bit bent, just turn it around or turn it upside down the other way and it should go through. So now you're going to see what I mean. Can anyone see I've got this stitched edge now? So that's going to perfectly line up with my tag. So I can put this wherever I like. I'm thinking down towards the bottom and maybe leave a little. Oh yes, I've got an idea now what to do. I like these little light globes on the other side too. They're really cute. I did, some of you I know were on our Zoom launch a few weeks ago, and one of the things that we did was we did a tag with this same set actually, and I got everyone to, we had different layered pieces. We had some ribbon through the top, looked really, really cute. Now, I have to use it because I just adore it. I'm going to grab myself some of this stuff here. I'm going to cut a really tiny, oops, I don't want that this time. I want my trimmer. As usual, I am making it up as I go along. So, you know, you never know what's going to, nobody knows what I'm going to create on a Sunday night, not even me. Sometimes I have a bit of an idea and sometimes I just don't. I mean, as much of an idea as I had with this was a card or a tag with this set. That's as much as I come up with. So yeah, we want to put a little bit of this. I'm going to use my wonderful friend. For those of you who don't have a silicone mat, silicone mats are the most wonderful, wonderful things. Here's one right here. I just love them. And they are so good when it comes to, you know, you get any adhesive on your project, it won't stick to the base. The adhesive just doesn't stick to it. It's fantastic. I'm just going to put that across the bottom, and then we're going to trim off the ends. Just like that. Looking good, guys. All right, so now we have our little stocking, and we've got our little pussycat. And as a really quick way of colouring, I'm going to grab cinnamon cider ink pad, and I'm going to grab a, let me see if I've got any colour in this from previous. And there's a little bit of colour in this, which was yellow before, which is not bad, but just get rid of that. And I'm going to grab a block. This is quite an easy way of getting ink to work with. Use a block and actually dip it into your ink pad, and then squeeze your water and pick up your ink from your ink pad. An alternative is to actually squeeze your ink pad together so that it makes contact with the roof or the lid of your pad, and then you end up with a pool. It's like using this as a palette. That's an alternative, but if you don't like the mess that creates, and some people don't, then do it this way because it's really, really easy to clean your blocks. So let's see how good this colour is. Oh, I should have left a bit more white. Never mind. He's a bit dark, isn't he? I think I made him too dark. After all that, I think I will have to make another cat and make him lighter. So let's see how that looks. I mean, it's not bad, but I think I would have liked him lighter. He's a bit darker than Mr. Crumpet. All right, so this is going to go right here on top of this, just to give you an idea of how this all works. I'm going to use some dimensionals behind here. Just going to position that down here towards here, and then I'll have to put a dimensional behind Mr. Crumpet. If anyone's wondering why I'm calling him Mr. Crumpet, that is my cat's name. He's a beautiful little ginger pussy cat who runs around the house and basically rules the roost. It is too dark. I would have preferred that lighter, but it's not terrible. And I would probably also, the other thing I could do, Brom, you'll laugh at me, I could give him googly eyes. That would be fun because I love googly eyes. I just have a thing about them. I know, right? The silicone mats are the best and they're cheap. They're so good. And they're just, nothing sticks to them. They're great for doing anything hot, like if you're heat embossing and stuff, put it underneath because you won't burn anything. It's just, they're really, really cool. So what do we need now? Now we need a ribbon or something like that through the top. And my favorite way to do ribbon is to thread it through and then to tie something smaller around it. So I'm thinking I might go with the very, very gorgeous, absolutely favorite ribbon, which is this one. I think this will work. Oh, gee, I don't know. It would work, but it's got gold in it. And then I would want to use gold. Oh, I could do it. I was going to use silver, but maybe we won't. Let's use this. So I'm going to thread it through from the top here. This is the Cherry Cobbler and Gold metallic ribbon, and it's just stunning. So beautiful. Right, so I'm just going to put that through where I'm happy. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad. And then we're going to chop that off. Yeah, the storms have been really bad over there, haven't they? I was just looking at your comments. With my husband's family. He's got family in Mississippi, down right near New Orleans, actually just over the border in Mississippi from Louisiana. And then he's got family up in, most of his family, his parents are up in Michigan. I don't think they said anything about the storms particularly because it seemed to have missed them up there. But down in Louisiana, they copped it for sure. The matte black dots, I don't have matte black dots. So, that's crazy. I'm glad to hear that you guys are cleaning up and you're safe. That's the most important thing. Wow. Yeah, really, really bad. Isn't it nice, this ribbon? I love it. But because it's got gold in it, I am going to have to use gold rather than silver. So if I use Pool Party to match this color, I probably would have gone with silver. But let's use some gold twine, which we have in the Elegantly Said twine pack. Which there's a piece, there's silver and there's silver and there's gold, a roll of each. So I'm just going to tie this around here. So I like to put my ribbon through, and then rather than tying that ribbon, I use my twine to tie it off. And that way I feel sometimes it's a better look. And the ribbon looks really nice like that. All right, here we go. There we go. Now I probably should add a little tag, like a there was another little one of these, wasn't there? I mean, I'm just thinking, should I put Merry Christmas or something somewhere? Maybe that might be good. I'm just going to close this up because if Jodie's watching, she'll rouse on me for leaving my lid open. I'm just wondering whether I do have a little tag. I know I did have one, but I must have moved that, must have popped something on top of it. That's okay. Not a problem. I shall work out whether I'm going to add a little tag as a sentiment or whether I just leave it like that. I mean, everyone can see it's a Christmas tag. Doesn't really need to say Merry Christmas. Oh, with both twines, that would look interesting. I might do that next time. Well, you know what? This down the bottom, that's not, this is really interesting. This is the Bedazzling paper. And the really cool thing about this is that it's not gold, it's not silver, it's not copper, but it goes with all of those things. And I've put it with both golds and silvers, and it just looks amazing. And that's a bit unusual. It sort of fits right in the middle somewhere. So I've done my gold to go with the ribbon here because silver definitely wouldn't go with this because that's definitely got gold in it. But this isn't really silver. It actually picks up some of what's in the gold. And I might even chop this a little shorter, but I don't like my pieces to be too long. There we go. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so there we go. Made a tag. Okay, so what do we think, guys? It's throwing silver on the screen. Yeah, I don't know. It does kind of look whatever color it's close to, but it's just so beautiful. I love it. I mean, I put this with that Blackberry Beauty paper, and I can see why you think it looks silver because it kind of does throw silver, but it kind of also looks great with gold. It's just amazing. I found I'm using it a lot. Oh, I'm glad you like them, guys. Thank you so much. That's cool. Well, I will pop these up on my Facebook page and my Insta page. And if anyone wants to pop over there and be part of the conversation over the next couple of days as I continue to reminisce, yesterday being at the hospital all day and all that stuff, I didn't end up posting anything on my page, but I figured that nobody would mind and everyone would understand. So it just sometimes it just happens like that. If anyone has any questions about either the joining promotion that we talked about before, or celebration, or even about my 15 envelopes promotion that I've got going for the next couple of days, just get in touch. And of course, you can always, I'll put all the details to join the Facebook page and so forth over in the description below. So check that back in a couple of minutes and I should have that up for you. Have a fantastic weekend. What's left of it. For those of you in the US, you're sort of only halfway through your weekend. But for those of us over here in Australia and New Zealand, we are finishing our weekend and it's moving into a brand new week. So have a good week ahead, guys, and stay safe. Bye bye.